Chapter 50. Stanley's mother insists that there never was a curse. She even doubts whether Stanley's great-great-grandfather really stole a pig. The reader might find it interesting, however, that Stanley's father invited his cure for food order that day. After the great-great-grandson of Yela Elia Yelitz carried the great-great-grandson of Madame Zeroni up the mountain. The Attorney Journal closed Camp Green Lake as Miss Walker, who, as in desperate need of money, had to sell the land which had been her family for generations. It was bought by a national or organization indicated to the well-being of young girls. In a few years, Camp Green Lake will become Girl Scout camp. This is pretty much the end of the story. The reader probably still has some questions, but unfortunately from here on in, the answer tend to be long and tedious, while Mr. Bell, Stanley's former math teacher, might want to know the person change in Stanley's weight. The reader probably cares more about the change in Stanley's character and self-confidence. But those changes are subtle and hard to measure. There is no simple answer. Even the contents of the suitcase turned out to be somewhat tedious. Stanley's father pried it open in his workshop, and at first everyone gasped at the sparkling jewels. Stanley thought he and Hacker had become millionaires, but the jewels were of poor quality, worth no more than $20,000. Underneath the jewels was a sack of papers that had once belonged to the first Stanley Yelitz. These consisted of stock certificates, death of trusts, the promissory notes. They were hard to read and even more difficult to understand. Miss Morengo's law firm spent more than 2 months going through all the papers. They turned out to be a lot more valuable than the jewels. After legal fees and taxes, Stanley and Zero each received less than $1 million, but not a lot less. It was enough for Stanley to buy his family a new house with a laboratory in the basement, and for Hacker to hire a team of private investigators. But it would be boring to go through all the tedious details of all the changes in their lives. Instead, the readers will be presented with one last scene which took place almost a year and a half after Stanley and Hector left the Camp Green Lake. You will have to feel the whole yourself. There was a small party of the Yelit's house except for Stanley and Hector. Everyone there was an adult. All kind of snacks and drinks were set out on the counter, including caviar, champagne, and a fixing to make ice cream sundaes. The Super Bowl was a television, and nobody was really watching. It's it should become on at the next break. Miss Moringo announced. A timeout was called in a football game, and a commercial came on the screen. Everyone stopped talking and watched. The commercial showed a baseball game amid a cloud of dust. Slide Livington slides into home plate as the catcher caught the ball and tried to tag him out. Safe! Shouted the umpire as he signaled with his arms. The people at Stanley's house cheered as if the run really counted. Sly Livington got up and dusted the dirt off his uniform. As he made his way back to the dugout, he spoke to the camera. Hi, I'm Sly Livington, but everyone around here calls me Sweet Feet. Way to go, Sweet Feet, said another baseball player, slapping his hand. But besides being on the television screen, Sly Levinton was also sitting in the couch next to Stanley. But my feet weren't always sweet, the television Sly Levington said as he sat down on the dugout bench. They used to smell so bad that nobody would sit near me in the dugout, and they really did stink. Said the woman sitting on the couch on the other side of slide. She held her nose with one hand and fanned the air with the other. Slight gesture. Then a teammate told me about Splush, said the television slide. He put a can of Splush out from under the dugout bench and held it up for everyone to see. I just spray a little of each foot every morning, and now I really do have sweet feet. Plus, I like the tingle. Splush, said a voice. A treat for your feet, made from the natural ingredients. It neutralizes odor causing fungi and bacteria. Plus, you'll like the tingle. Everyone at the party clapped their hands. He wasn't lying, said the woman who sat next to Slide. I couldn't even be in the same room with his socks. The other people at the party laughed. The woman continued, I'm not joking, it was so bad. You've made your point, said Slide, covering her mouth with his hand. He looked back at Stanley. Will you do me a favor, Stanley? Stanley raised and lowered his left shoulder. I'm going to get some more caviar, said Slide. Keep out your hand over my wife's mouths. He patted Stanley on the shoulder as he rose from the couch. Stanley looked uncertainly at his hand and then at Slide Livingston's wife. She blinked at him. He felt himself blush and turned away towards Hector, who was sitting on the floor in front of the overstuffed chair. A woman sitting in the chair behind Hector was absently mindedly fluffing his hair and with his fingers. She wasn't very old, but her skin was a weathered look to it, almost like leather. Her eyes seemed weary, as if she'd seen too many things in her life that she didn't want to see. When she smiled, her mouth seemed too big for her face. Very softly, she half sang, half hummed a song that her grandmother used to sing to her when she was a little girl. If only, the moon speaks no reply, ref- reflecting the sun and all that's gone by. Be strong, my weary wolf. Turn around, Bobby. Fly high, my baby bird, my angel, my only.